Hello and welcome back to the Talking Wednesday podcast. This time, I believe it's episode 197, but I wasn't here last week, so that always throws me off. But yes.
I believe it is, yes.
We are coming into the time of year now where we'll be winding down very soon. There'll be a Christmas episode and the likes, but we usually take a couple of weeks without regular podcast content. I'm going to try and fill it out with a couple of extras for our members, so we'll be getting those together over the next couple of weeks. So there's some content from the Talking Wednesday podcast over Christmas, but we will be, this is probably going to be one of our last podcasts, I believe, until we might do one next week. I think last week. I think
we said last week is probably the last one, maybe.
Yeah. Next week will probably be the last one normal podcast. And then 199 will be the Christmas episode. And then if we can somehow make it work, we'll try and do an in-person for 200 so we can keep it on an order. I've got a date in mind. I just need to talk to Jake about it. It's going to be a bit hectic, but I reckon we can make it work. We'll see. Right. But yes, it is Dex and Jake this week. We're going to talk you through everything Sheffield Wednesday related. We are coming to you fresh after the Sheffield Wednesday Preston game, but we'll start as we always do. Jake, I've not seen you in a little while. How's your week been, mate?
Stressful because I'm starting to get all the stuff sorted because I've got 2 kids' birthdays next week. So it's all...
One of them won't remember. You really don't have to worry about it.
I know one won't remember, but the other one will. We've got a birthday party next week as well for her, which is our first one. So we got that all going through. But it's that time of year where it's really creeped up on me again. And the thing is, I am a lot more tired than I was this time last year because I've now got Hunter on a full-time basis when my missus is at work. And he is now keeping me on my feet. Now he can walk and run. And it's becoming a problem because he's learned how to open things and it's not fun. If I have to barricade the bathroom door again, I will. But what I'm using to barricade the door with have got wheels and he knows that. So I'm in that point of trying to baby-proof, toddler-proof the house. And it's doing me head in, mate. It really is. Yeah. I forgot how much of the nightmare they get when they figure out how to move. It's all nice when they're cute and cuddly. They're now getting to that point where they will start picking up words soon as well. So I have to be very careful. But at the moment, he could have a swear word that begins with D. If he's not careful, because that seems to be what I sometimes call the dog when he's been an idiot. But it's one of those things at the minute where we're just trying to get things sorted. But apart from that, it's been good. It's been a weird one content-wise because I've been trying to figure out what to do and stuff like that. I've managed to kick my butt a little bit and make a little bit of EA FIFA content. It's not EA FIFA, is it? EAFC content. And I've been playing Stalker 2, which I kind of like. I like it a lot. It's a different
I'm struggling. I just feel like I feel like it's a game that I need to be in a different headspace for because I've played it as well. And it's just, I don't like the anomalies. They annoy me because they don't really make sense at the minute, but I'm sure they will make sense. And when they kill me, I'm like, that's frustrating. Yep. That's really frustrating. Whereas and I'm also in a state, I don't quite like the AI, the fact that the enemy seems to be able to see you in the dark, but you can't see them in the dark. Yeah,
that's really frustrating. Really frustrating because that shouldn't be allowed.
I'm at a bit of a mission now where I've got to go across this bridge. It's indoors and there's 3 enemies literally in the dark. And this is where I just put the controller down and stop playing because as soon as I creep out through the door, it's pitch black. They can see me. They shoot me. I can't see them. And I'm like, this is annoying.
I really want to get a better gaming PC next year because I really want to get into Escape from Tarkov. But I know for a fact if I get into that game, I am gone. I will get lost. I can see it being a game I can get completely addicted to. And that's the problem when you've got kids. I have not got the time to do that anymore. So it's... I'm liking the gaming phase. Do you ever do what I used to do? I still do it now. Sometimes I'll put a game down for 6 months, leave it, and then go back, and then I can do it straight away.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's the one thing that with Stalker, I think it's going to be a headspace thing, especially because I'm playing stuff I'm playing quite a lot of the Black Ops 6. It's more, fast paced stuff and things like that. I recently replayed Alan Wake. So I'm going through the Alan Wake Control series again because I've not played the second one yet. So I'm going to go through that gradually. So I haven't played Alan Wake since it came out basically on the 360. So I just played through the remastered version of that. Doing bits in terms of the free time, but yeah, I'll be honest. Like I've got to be careful. I'm trying to force myself to write more and sit and make music up here because February is going to be a problem for the rest of my life. Actually, next year in games in general is probably going to be a problem for the next 5 years because I'm a big Civilization fan and the new one comes out in February. There's Assassin's Creed Shadows in February. There's Avowed in February, right? There's Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 in February. And Sophie's birthday is in February as well. So I'm just like, oh God. And then at the end of the year,
do you want to go
obviously,
on a magical journey? Oh, where are we going? You're going to sit here and watch me play these video games and we're going to go through different time zones.
But also, I'm going to try and go away next year because it's one of those big birthdays. So it's a case of we're trying to organise that. And then GTA 6 comes out at the end of the year. So it's like all this there's not enough free time to be an absolute rotter and do everything. Do you know what I mean? No. So it's going to be and actually still be creative and still do bits of
the joys of being an adult and having hobbies that involve being creative.
Yes, but at least I don't have children, so I can prioritize.
You can still have a fun for your games where you have to pick and choose, unlike me, who got to pick and choose what games I can do and what month.
Yeah, that'd be annoying as well if I couldn't play a certain game because that one might start repeating everything they hear off it or be in the room or it was too violent or things like that. Yeah, that'd do. Yeah, do my head in a little bit. The newborn stage would be fine.
Why do you think I have this?
Yeah, no, that's true. But anyway, let's get into the football. I think, to be honest, talking about video games would be a lot more exciting than talking about what we've just witnessed. Sheffield Wednesday, Preston. I've just been streaming it, Jake, so it's your turn. Talk us through it.
Yeah. That was dire, to say the least. It was very much like the weather. Horrible. It was slow. It was lethargic. There's something wrong with when we play at home. We play away and we can start games a little bit better. But at home, we really, really struggle. And I know some people are going to say this is what happened when we don't have Barry Bannon. It is, but we have to learn to play without him. We can't clone him. He's not like Dolly the sheep. We've been looking for the next Barry Bannon for the last couple of years and we haven't found it yet. And that's the problem. And
I think my part is it highlights it. Right. So we've been talking about our deficiencies a lot this season. For me, it's been, we're not clinical enough. We've not been creating as much as we were last season and we don't have depth. Yeah. Now, when Barry Bannon's in the team, he plugs a lot of those gaps. So we create a lot more chances. We're a lot more creative on the ball. When you take Barry Bannon out of this team, you those deficiencies of the side are very highlighted, which is not ideal.
I will say this is the first time I've seen us keep attacking, though, when Bannon's not been it. When Bannon's in the team, he sometimes makes us sit back a little bit too much. When Danny's trying to get us to attack, and I don't know if that Barry trying to look at it going, let's just protect it, and Danny's wanting to be pragmatic, and it's sometimes clashing. We did look like we were going to go forward a little bit more. But at the same time, when we did that...
Barry does that on the draw. He does that when we're winning.
Yeah.
So we're chasing it all game today.
That first goal was just naff defending. But how often do we get caught on that
Preston
side
could have had
alone?
about 3 or 4 goals that same way. The way we were so lucky, the way they flashed the ball across the 6-yard box. I don't understand why we're letting it happen all the time. They could have had tap-ins.
It happened versus Hull. It happened versus Hull. It happened versus Derby. That needs sorting, and it makes you question, does that change where the transfer window goes a little bit? Because that is a defensive failure we need to fix. And we weren't great in that first half. Everyone looked really lethargic, slow, weren't into it. Marvin Johnson had good bell, but there were times where him and Danny were clashing. In the second half. Was it second half? Yeah, it was.
First half.
First half. There was a clash between those two. And You go
Because he gave
back
away the ball. He just didn't need to let the ball go out of play. It was lazy.
You give a bit of that, and then you look at what Danny did in the second half. Made the changes. I think they were good changes. Valentin, I think Valentin turned into the impact play, but eventually going to turn into the play that starts.
Oh, but Valentin is. He was man of the match for me today. He came on and he was just fantastic.
He was fantastic, yeah. And we've had the whole thing, and your stream had it with the whole Ugbo chat. We're not playing the same way we did last season with him. That's the simple fact.
Yeah, we said that for ages. We're just not playing to his strengths. And he's going to highlight him. He's not going to shine.
Yeah. Yeah, you've got to be able to play to his strength.
It's interesting when you think, let's talk about obviously the fact that we nearly got into it with a penalty. It was really good work from Paul again. I don't know. Do you know what the drop ball situation was? What was that all about? I
think by the sounds of what Guy said that the referee accidentally blew his whistle.
All right. Okay.
And that's why. To be fair, when I saw the penalty, I was like, are we going to get it? Because Bobby Madley. Bobby Madley, the ref I hate. I hate when he refs games. I just don't like it. And it was a penalty, but for all that's holy, why the hell is Windass taking it over Michael Smith?
If Michael Smith is on the pitch, wound me up. Because was it captain overruling player?
It feels like it was. It feels like with captain overruling player and player wanting to get that 50 mark. You can tell he's pushing so hard to get it. But I don't think Michael Smith's ever missed a penalty. No,
he hasn't. This is the stat I checked during the stream. He's never missed a penalty for us.
So for me, why is he not taking it?
I think it's for everyone. We question that. I think that is. There was a question in my chat about Windass's ego, right? And I want to defend him a little bit here. His ego is part of what makes him a good player on the day as well. So you can't have both. You've got to have a player that will shine because they're a little bit, they love themselves a little bit in that regard, and they've got rights to when they turn it on. But also, that means they're going to make decisions like that. If you I don't think he should have the armband. Because if he's taken the armband, taken the penalty, because he wants to get to that milestone for himself, then the team have suffered there because he's missed the penalty. Obviously, he could score it, and then that's what's going to come with ego. It's also going to come with confidence. But it can be overconfidence in that regard. So I actually think Windass is best when he's got that ego, but he's got a Barry Bannon to rein him in or something like that, because then it's controlled. And what happens there is we could very easily have lost the game if we didn't capitalise after that with that missed penalty. But obviously,
he made good subs again. Danny's making
fantastic substitutions.
Danny's starting to make really good substitutions now and learn what works. And I thought Jamal Lowe came on and had a really good game again. Like Derby game, this game, I think he had a really good game and played to what his strengths are. I thought Chalobah came on and did well. The goal, it's scrappy as hell. But before the game, I kind of said to a chat I'm in, I turned around and said, it's the kind of game I can see Preston winning covers how the weather is. Because they are that team that play in that way when it's like this, and they know how to do it. And we struggle when it's like this.
Do you know what? I don't think necessarily as well. I think Preston play old classic wing play. Just get your wingers down and across. And I kind of like that in a way. But I don't think they're necessarily a good side. No. And I think we should have capitalised on that today. We were just poor. And you could probably stretch for saying we deserved a point out of it, but I wouldn't even say that. No. I think we were woeful.
We snapped the point. If anything, Preston deserved all three with the way they played.
So obviously our equalising goal, just before it, Masaba's in the box and he does a lot of step-overs and manages to play it out of play. And you lost your cool in the chat, I remember that.
I did lose my cool because I am so sick and tired of him doing it. Last season, it was okay in Belt because he could rein it in a little bit. He doesn't rein it in this season. Every time, until you get to the goal, the created chance, you see Michael Smith looking at it going, play it in. Gassama's doing the same thing. All it takes is him to lift his head up and put it in, and then that's another chance.
Well, the thing is, he does really well first. Much. He does his little step overs. He wins.
Yeah.
And then he does it again and he manages to get away with it. And then he does it a third time and ricochets the ball and it's a goal kick.
It's the third one that got him.
Just pick a time to do it, man. Like, you've just got away with it twice. Play the ball now. Don't go all the way through. And do you know what? It's
like playing someone who like does skill moves on EA and they're just constantly doing it until they get to the box.
It's like playing with a rush player, isn't it? Where you're like, just pass the ball.
Yeah.
But like,
this guy got his name right today.
Earlier in the season, and I still stand by this, I want Masaba to try things. I want him to try and beat a man. I want him to be a creative player. But it's got to come with the decision making when the fans are angsty, when the team is searching for a goal,
when we're losing.
There's 20 minutes left and we need an equaliser. That's where you've got to make the decision to make a pass. And to his credit, after he made a stupid decision the first time, a couple of minutes later, he plays the cross and then Michael Smith scores the goal. It's very similar to their goal. It's straight across the box. The keeper should get down to that. It goes under him. It's not good from the keeper.
I genuinely think the keeper's worried about that shoulder because you saw when he saved that penalty, he had to get his shoulder looked at. And I'm wondering if there's a little bit of that. I will say something. Guy did improve though. They got the names right with Mufasa and Bernard.
It was Mustafa. He was called.
Mustafa,
I ain't been on since this. That Hull was the worst commentary I've ever heard.
Oh, do you not remember the dot and then the one that it was Bernard, not Bernard. Bernard.
Yeah, but they did it in the it was Bernard, but then sometimes it was Bernard, and they were making their minds up. They couldn't make their mind up on it, and it's Mustafa, and it's just I was like, what is actually
you
happening?
even put a tweet out saying, go watch me instead because at least I know the names and that says a lot.
Because it did my nutting right because they went, this is going to be a massive match for the bottom of the table. This is the kind of one you look at the end of the season, two teams low on confidence sort of thing. I was like, hang on, have you done any research on us whatsoever? We're not low on confidence here. Like Hull are. We aren't.
No. I think in that second half, right near the end, we started to get our tails up a little bit, but we kept on leaving lots of space for them to attack in. I think Gatama ran out of steam when he had that run right near the end, and it's missing something, isn't it? It's missing a spark. It's just missing that. Maybe in the January we're going to get another impact player in, but I would have loved to take him 3 points with how they are. But as someone said in your chat, Preston a draw specialist. They can seem to get it, but they don't be able to find a winner.
Yeah. Now, obviously, this is a weekend where we can't really tell much from the overall play of it because there's been postponed games. I reckon there'll be quite a few postponed games this afternoon. We're in play. I think all of them have kicked off.
Let me have a look.
Mainly. But let's have a look. No, Cardiff, Watford got postponed.
Yeah. Plymouth,
Oxford got postponed. There is matches currently underway as we record this. Yeah, so 4 have kicked off. So Portsmouth, Bristol, City, Millwall, Coventry, Hull, Blackburn, and QPR Norwich. They've all gone ahead, but whether they happen, we'll see. And then there's obviously Luton, Swansea, and West Brom, Sheffield United tomorrow.
Well, we've got 4 games we can talk about in terms of what's happened in results.
Yeah, we've obviously Leeds have gone to the top of the table with a 2-0 win over Derby. They're on 19 like us. There's not a lot of teams on 19. They're on 38 points at the top of the table. Burnley have played 19. They're on 37. Sunderland are on 36 points after 19 played. Middlesbrough have played 19. They're on 31 points in 5th. Then you go to us who've played 19. We're in 9th on 26th. However, there's no teams until 14th that have played 19 games. So Norwich are on 25 points, 1 point behind us, could leap in front of us with the game in hand. Millwall have got 2 games in hand on us. Bristol City have got 1 game in hand. So have Swansea. So anywhere to Swansea could end up being on level points with us, basically.
But to say where we were last season, 26 points, that's decent. It's something to build upon. Big week of games as well. Blackburn on Tuesday, then Oxford at the weekend. I think the thing is that it's showing the improvement, but we got to get that consistency.
Oxford's going to be tough.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
The only good thing about the Oxford game is away. We are a much better away team than we are home team this season. And
do you think a lot of people are putting that down to atmosphere and the likes? I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure it's that. You said it could be the away crowd lifting us as well, but
I think there's a difference when you hear the away game. You hear the Wednesday fans singing. You hear them constantly. You watch an away game, we're the only ones singing normally for the full 90. Granted, away game, some people are on the piss, whatever. It's what happens. But at home, it's quiet. It's silent. It's absolutely silent unless we get a goal or we're doing a little bit of something. And I don't know if that's the case of, we spoke about it in your live stream chat. I think it was 42 quid a ticket today. It's on Sky. It's NAF weather. You put it at, like you said, 20 quid. You get in, maybe do a 20 quid pie and a pint deal. You get people in. We got to get people in because the home form is very crucial. If you can get the home form back up to where we know it can be, it's going to be really crucial in the long run. But
I mean, even if it was a pie and a pint, I'd even do 30 quid, to be honest. But I was just saying 20 quid admission, like you get in, it's 20 quid. You fill a lot of those empty seats. So it was the Cop for me today, which was telling. The Cop was a lot emptier than I'm used to seeing it. Like I was saying in the chat, I'm 2 hours away now. I'm over 2 hours actually most of the time in traffic. So it's a case of like, I'd planned to stream today anyway, but if on the whim I'd seen that 20 quid game coming up because it's on Sky, I'd travel. It's like it's a game that would have gone in the calendar as all right. I'm going to that one then.
So
because it's a 20 quid.
So Blackburn Rovers game on Tuesday night, Southsand 40 quid, 36, and then on the Cop it's 31. That's your price.
Is that Tuesday night? Yeah.
That Tuesday night. And again, that's another Sky Plus game.
Yeah.
And if the weather's bad, again, people will go, do I want to sit outside and watch this, or am I going to watch it home with a pint?
I mean, that's more reasonable, 31 quid on the Cop, but it's still expensive. Like, especially for a game that you can just watch.
Yeah. And I think our next game that's on TV is Stoke. And that's another midday kickoff. And again, that's going to be the worth on that one. That is like 21st of December. And then we have no home games. And that's what, 39 quid on the North Stand, 34 on the Cop, and 43 on the South. And that's on Sky at 12:30.
Yeah.
If you want to take two,
it's going to be a problem with. We're talking about atmospheres, but the thing is, there's a big question on atmospheres in general. They're talking about it in the Premier League. They're talking about it everywhere. Home crowds are sort of losing their. I think in the Premier League, it's more of got a thing to do with tourism and token games.
Can I tell you what I would do?
Go on.
So we know how the 3 p.m. blackout could come to an end on the next round of TV deals. The talk that it could come round. I reckon this should be across the entire of the football from Premier. But let's just start with 72. That's easier. It's 20 quid a ticket, home and away. Each set of teams get 20 quid or 25. Put it that. And then it's a set price fee season ticket across the board. Then you get people in. And if you want to raise it, or teams want to raise it, it's got to be a yearly meeting with the EFL clubs, 72, all done it to set the yearly raise across the board. Because if 3 p.m. blackout goes, you'll get less people going, especially when it's NAF weather. And maybe you will have to lower prices there. But I also think there needs to be an adequate split of the money that is raised by removing the 3 p.m. blackout. I think the TV companies, the TV deal needs to be bigger to go for any of those losses. Do you know what? If they did that in the AFL, I think they would actually level the playing field a lot more. Yeah. It'd actually disadvantage clubs like us, which I wouldn't be against because I'm not a hypocrite, right? Because we'd actually bring in bigger revenues and things like that
in general because of the size of the club. If you're a bigger championship club, but you'd level the playing field.
The problem you got is with it, and it's the biggest problem, which I just thought of. We don't know what every other club's overheads are when it comes to it. It will be a logistical nightmare because some clubs survive on ticket price, especially now with the FA Cup having no replay. That was something that would bring a lot of revenue in. Now that's gone, it's how they find the next load of revenue. It's going to be interesting come the next round of TV deal because
I think they need to rework FFP. That's a big part of this as well.
And PNS in the Prem.
PSR.
That's it. Yeah.
You were very close to another thing there.
I was.
Yeah, you were. But yeah, Cardiff was crap. I'll be covering Blackburn on the channel on Tuesday night. Come along, chat with me and Punk. We'll probably we're hoping to see something better than what we've just seen.
Yep.
But let's move into the news.
Talking of Blackburn Rover before we do you know, you remember with the lad we had on loan last season from him? Who was it? Butley. Do you know he live streams on TikTok playing COD?
I didn't know that. That's quite
somebody put it up the other day saying, is he any good that he's trying to make money on TikTok now?
He might just enjoy it, might do it as a passion.
Yeah.
You know. A lot of footballers use their platform to build into other things.
I think he's setting himself for the future.
It's like me. Like I'm a believe it or not, Jake. I'm a musician sometimes.
Really?
And
never knew.
Yeah, I'll sponsor the podcast if I've got a new album because it's like it's something I've built, and it's not a way of ramming it down people's throats. But it's so hard to get yourself out there in other spaces. It's a case of like, oh, I'm not going to push it down. Like, but I might.
New music coming 2025?
Sponsor the pod for a week.
Mark.
You what? Sorry.
New music coming 2025? Question mark.
I've got some new bits on the horizon. Yeah, I kind of like because I'm producing it all myself. It takes a lot longer.
You missed lockdown a little bit.
I do. I do. That's what got my arse into gear. I wrote stuff, but it's all going. All the music, Jack will be happy, is going into the style of Waiting. The track that I wrote, nice. all of it is very synthy now. I'm thinking of starting another project to do an actual like classic rock, heavy rock sort of band in the future, and just and having the stuff that I'm with currently just being all sort of I guess the Simple Minds approach, as some people say, that sort of style.
Anyway, shall we get on to the news?
No, let's just talk about music all the time, and then people can get me in the Spotify. I'll be in nobody's Spotify rap. It's great. No, yeah. So Sheffield Wednesday news. This is interesting. This is from the Star. Watching Premier League clubs could make a January approach for Sheffield Wednesday goalkeeper. The January transfer window is getting closer, and Sheffield Wednesday are lining up incomings and could receive interest in one of their brightest young talents. Pierce Charles is a Sheffield Wednesday player with huge potential, and the potential is being noticed by the clubs in the Premier League, the Star understands. His skill set as an eye-catching ball-playing keeper is one sought after in the modern game, and the Star understands at least 3 Premier League clubs have attended matches to watch him across his appearances for Wednesday and Northern Ireland this season. It's understood Wednesday could receive formal approaches of the interest in the 19-year-old as soon as the forthcoming January transfer window. It is not yet known what Wednesday's response to interest would be. Charles is highly rated at S6 and could command a high transfer fee, with Owls boss Danny Rull having outlined his admiration for a high-potential young player. He signed a new contract earlier with the club this year. In Championship football, Charles has played second fiddle to another hugely talented youngster in England under-21 stopper James Beadle. We are aware of that. I'm going to end the article there. You can go and read it a little bit more. However, there was a rumour. I don't know how much validity there's in this. I sort of retweeted it and made a joke, but I don't know how accurate the source is, to be honest. That Liverpool are one of the clubs that are interested, one of the Premier League clubs. There was talks of Arsenal somewhere, I read, as well.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on the Charles situation with him potentially being out in the door as early as January? Do you see this happening? Do you see it being something that Wednesday are challenged over?
Right. This all goes on what Danny wants to do. If this is the thing, if you look at his brother, he wasn't playing in Man City's first team, yet he went for 10 million to Southampton, right? We got him on loan at the minute. Pierre Charles had played minutes for us in the cup and played minutes for his national team. Some people are going to call me deluded here, but I still think 11, maybe 12 million for him with a little bit of a sell-on. If we are going to look at potential, that's what you go for.
And it wouldn't be the wackiest thing in this market. I understand why people would be like, that's mental. He's a Wednesday player sort of thing. He's a young Wednesday player. But it's you look at the history. He's actually
Charles
a senior.
Went for 10 million and hadn't played in the first
exactly.
team.
No, exactly. But you can say he came directly from the Man City Academy. Obviously, Charles left the Man City Academy to come to us, signed a senior contract. However, he's a senior national. Not an under-21s national.
No, senior.
He's a senior national. He is the Northern Ireland goalkeeper at the minute.
Number 1.
Yep.
My only issue is, if he went, say if he did go in January, we are up through, we're out of paddle, because we don't have any other keepers. We have none.
We've got that young lad. We signed a National League prospect, remember?
Is he Irish again?
I don't know. I've actually forgot his name. That's how much we have got someone who was like the best keeper in the National League or close or something, or in one of those leagues. He was ridiculous stats. We signed him on a free, or a small fee.
We are short in that position. If you get rid of him and say Beadle get told he get recalled or something like that, or something happened to Beadle, you're left with Ben Hamer.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's going to happen in January. I've got to make that clear.
Killian Barrett, that's him.
All right, okay. What we have got in terms of goalkeepers is a situation where I think the fee's going to depend on who you can bring in. Like, if you look at Liverpool, are interested.
I did like your
joke. Oh, we'll have Kelleher. We'll have Kelleher and stuff like that. That's not going to happen. But it's a case of my best mate supports Liverpool. I was talking to him and he was like, but then he'd be like our 5th keeper. And I was like, well, that'd be really interesting, wouldn't it? If that was the case, why would he go and do that? So for me, that wouldn't be the situation. But I think it's a case of, I look at Charles, who left the City Academy to have a chance at first team football. It would benefit him to be Wednesday's number 1. It all depends on what Danny Rull's going to go in and do.
I think he is Wednesday's number 1 next season.
He should be. But here's the other thought process. If Beadle is ambitious and thinks that like, oh, actually, I really buy into this Wednesday sort of finish towards the top 10, we're going to go for a push next season. Does Danny, because we know he loves Beadle, use the Charles sale to finance the Beadle purchase?
Would you? Maybe. It depends how much Brighton then want for it, because the problem is that you get rid of Charles, we're in with the same position we had when we had money a la Rhodes. People know how much money we got.
Yeah. But I also don't think I struggle to think that somebody would spend 10 million on a keeper that's not been there. But he's the number 1 for Ireland. But I do struggle to think that somebody would bring that fee in. But then didn't Trafford go for like 15 or something?
Beadle market value 5 million.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why I'm like, if Beadle's value is 5 million, like there's, I would think, Charles, you'd be looking at a fee of like 3 million personally, if I was looking at in the real world. But but we're in an inflated market, so you genuinely don't know.
I'd like to see him stay if we can, because he went, Trafford went for 15 million and he's currently worth 18 million. So I think that's the thing. You look at what other keepers are going for. And again, James Trafford only had loans, really, at Bolton.
Yeah.
And he's their under 21 keeper. So if we made a bit of profit on him, it gives a bit more money to spend. It gives us area to do. But I'm in that kind of thing. I only want to see Charles go if it's a big amount of money. Generally, I don't want to see it being 3-5 million. I want it to be close to 8 to maybe 6 to 8 with add-ons, with like a 15% add-on on top of that. If you get
the smallest fee I would take for him is 5 million with a hefty sell-on. That's because we're not in the best negotiating position. Whereas 5 million is good cash flow for Wednesday. So it's a case in terms of FFP.
We signed a player with a new contract before they started, and we're starting to do this a lot more. We've done it with Sean. We're sounds like we're about to get it all sort of Fuser. We've done it with Bernard. We're starting to learn about how to sign players a bit more. The problem is, like, the issue we'll have is, say someone come for Gassama or Masaba, I don't think we'll sell because we got hefty 20 and I think 25% sell-on fees, which Chansiri will not want to give up.
Yeah, but I reckon you cut your losses on one of them. You'd want to cut your losses, you make profit on one of them. But we'll see what he does. That's the thing. We also know in the Charles situation, Chansiri won't take a smaller fee for him. Now, for me, it's all on what Danny does. I would like to see, if we're not, because I would actually probably accept us funding the James Beadle purchase with a sale of Pierce Charles. I wouldn't be over the moon, but they're both very highly rated keepers.
We had this conversation last year, same time with Calamatri.
Yeah.
Is that the same time?
Yeah, but I think Charles needs assurances that he's going to be number one next year.
Oh, yeah. You need to know if
he's either on number one or Beadle. I can only see those two things happening. We get Beadle on a permanent because he's not going to get into Brighton's side anytime soon, and James Beadle's bought into the Danny Roll project, which is reaching, Jake. I'm not going to shout because he'd probably be looking at a top 6 side in the championship 100%. If Beadle was going permanently. So it's a case of, if that was the case, but again, Beadle might see us as that next season if Danny Roll obviously carries on building the project, and we're building little by little every season. So they're the two situations I see. Premier League money comes in, we finance a Beadle sale for Charles. Charles goes, we bring in Beadle, or Pierce Charles has to be on number one next season.
He's our number one, and the thing is, from what you hear Danny talking about, he already sounds like he's making Charles his number one next season.
It's got to be. It's got to be, because the thing is as well, if Charles does well for us in a couple of years and we do sell him, it's a sad time, but he's all profit.
Yeah.
All profit.
Yeah, definitely.
Because you look at him in long-term value, it might not work out, but we've actually got to... We struggle for keepers, right? If we've got a keeper there, he stays with us a couple of years, he increases his market value, and a big bid comes in for him.
Yeah. And a huge bid comes in, and then we're making even more.
Yeah. So just play this one right Wednesday is all I'd say.
Let us know. Let us know in the comment section what you think.
Please do. Jake, we're playing Coventry again in the FA Cup.
I know. I'm annoyed. It was a naff draw. It was an absolutely naff draw. Soon as Coventry got pulled out, of like, not again. Sorry, you said that wrong. Frank Lampard, Coventry. Now.
Oh, yeah. Frank Lampard's Coventry City.
Gotta say it how the media say it. Done me head in that, does
it? Well, that's basically on the 11th of January.
It is. The kickoff time for all the FA Cup things are insane.
It's been chosen as an overseas broadcast for it's the CBS Arena at 6 p.m. and the time's been selected for an overseas TV broadcast.
We're not going to be able to watch it.
Yeah, is basically what it means.
Rob Staten put it as this: the FA Cup tie, Sheffield United versus Cardiff is Thursday night at 7 p.m. We're 6 p.m. on a Saturday, and then it's Hull City versus Donny, a 12 p.m. kickoff. What's that all about? And the thing is,
I don't know if this is the American thing. You know, we were talking about like America want a little bit more of our game.
Yeah.
You know, this could be the sort of, obviously we're not moving the fixtures, but it could be the case of moving kickoff times and things like that.
Yeah.
Because this would be early morning in America, wouldn't it? 6 p.m.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. We'll see. It's a weird one.
Not a fan of it, but it is what it is. Especially with the fact that we lose FA Cup replays. So if it does go to like 0-0 or 1-1, you have to go to penalties. Even though in terms of fixture pile up, I think this is what the FA has said. Hey, this is what we're doing so you don't get your player burnt out. Yet we're still doing things like the National League stuff.
Yeah. The Nations League. Yeah.
That's the one.
Yeah, that's what you meant. Yeah. So obviously January is coming up. Jake, do you think we're going to be strengthening in terms of, obviously there's been talks from Danny Rull about it's going to be a lot of loans. Do you think that's all it's going to be?
I think it'll only be loans. I think we'll only get a person in permanently if there's like a lot of people sniffing around them and maybe they're out of contract in the summer. I think that's the only way you do a permanent deal. I think it'll be all loans. It's interesting. One of the couple of loans that have been talked about is one is Louis Barry at Stockport. Had a really good couple of seasons there. It sounds like he's getting a little bit of a James Beadle treatment, getting his reward for how he played at Stockport. He's a left-sided attacking midfielder, can play the striking position. But I want to know, what do you think we need in January? Not what we want. What do you think we need?
We need a striker.
So you're going to have to let McNeil go out on loan probably then, because that's all we spoke about. So I reckon we need a striker, maybe another centre-back, maybe another midfielder.
We need all of those things, Jake. We need a striker, we need a defender, a centre back, and we need a midfielder. And I'd also argue, no, actually, Paul can do it. I was going to say we need a right back.
We've only got 3 loan spots left as well.
We need a striker. I think we need a creative midfielder specifically.
Yep.
And we need a centre back. And that's
the thing
my
is,
3.
Centre back, Ronnie Edwards from Southampton is a name that's been linked with us as well. And
well, I think if the Southampton manager keeps his position, then I think we're going to be in bloody good stead with Southampton, because this Shea Charles deal is working well.
I don't think they're going to sack him, because I think they're just going to be like, let's take the Prem money and then build next season.
Yeah. Yeah. And the thing is, it'd be good for them if they have like Shea Charles coming back into their team next year and stuff after a season in the Championship, etc. So yeah, it's a good move all around, really. But I think if we're being specific and we say one position, if I had to pick one position that we fill, it's the position we didn't fill properly in. Well, actually, no, centre back would be the position we didn't fill properly in summer, but it would be striker, because where we are creating chances, we are not finishing them. For me, it's got to be a striker.
The problem there, and I know that the problem is, I can see it's that it sounds. I can see Chansiri going a bit apoplectic with it, going, "I brought you Ugbo. Why are you not doing it with Ugbo then?" And that's
because if Chansiri says that, then he doesn't he's not learned anything in his 10 years.
That's what I can see being a thing, that he's not said it, but it's something I can see him being like, well, I got you a striker, why did it not work? Like, if you actually look at our general strikers, we've got Ugbo, we've got McNeil, and we've got Smith. Pato, he can play anywhere. Kabachi's a winger. Masava's a winger. And Gassama's a winger.
Ugbo was never a 20-goal a season striker in this system. I reckon he potentially could have a season where he reaches close to that if you're a wing play side, but we don't play wing play.
No.
Like, he's there to get you 10 goals as a poacher.
And I will say, Charlie McNeil, from what I saw when we went and did the charity stuff, you can tell he needs to bulk up. And I still don't think the idea of bringing Cadamartri back is right. I think Cadamartri needs to stay out on loan. So I think you're right, a striker is where we need it. But
if we don't sign a striker, we need to bring Cadamartri back.
Yeah, but the problem is, what happens if it's 11 o'clock and you still not brought a striker and you can't bring him back? Once it hits 11,
no, I'm not saying that. I'm saying unless it looks likely that, basically, actually, if we're not going in for like deadline day with a certainty we're going to get a striker, we should have brought Cadamartri back.
And also, it sounds like Danny's already turned around and said he wants Cadamartri to stay out on loan.
I would like that as well. The thing I've got, right, is I don't mind us finishing anywhere close to where we're finishing now for the course of the season. but I also want to shut our fans up. So we need to bring in a striker. Right? Because the thing is, I was saying this on my stream, we've got good perspective now, and I think every Wednesday fan should have good perspective because what we went through last season, right?
Yeah.
It's fresh in our minds. And the good thing is it's the same manager and pretty much the same players with a few additions, a few solid additions here and there. We are better than we were last season.
Yeah.
So if you are somebody who always says, Wednesday should be all the way up here because of the 90s, right? Look at last season and compare everything you see this season to last season and see it as a process. That is the filter and the lens I am looking at everything through, right?
Yeah.
But a striker would actually, if we can get a lucky streak with a striker, would probably actually have us overperforming, which is, I think, what Ugbo did for us last season. We overperformed, which is what kept us up. And now we're sort of meeting the level of where we're at. We are a mid-table side and we are seeing that. But with overperformance, we could probably reach higher than that. But I would rather be a side eventually that is a team that are like performing to the level they should be and be up there. At the minute, we've got a very mid-table team that occasionally put on a show.
Yeah.
And some people think our players, I think, and I think our players think it, which is good because they've got a manager that backs them, that think they're all the way up there. And we have got a couple of players that could play all the way up there. Don't get me wrong. But as a team in general, we are very much a process.
Very much so, yeah. I agree.
And that leads us into, if we're talking about the Christmas period coming up, and we're obviously going to be covering some of this, we're covering the Blackburn game, and then we'll probably be covering the Stoke game. We'll talk about all of that. But if we talk about those 5 games, Blackburn, Oxford, Stoke, Middlesbrough, Preston, there are games left. Preston again. There are games left for the rest of the year. That's 15 points available. How many points do you think we're getting, Jake?
I think we could get 3 versus Oxford, maybe a draw versus Blackburn. Again, draw Blackburn. Possibly push 3 versus Middlesbrough, depending on how Middlesbrough doing. And Preston, maybe nick a 3. And I'm only
Did you
going
mean draw versus Stoke there?
Yeah, draw versus Stoke. And I'm only saying that because they're away games. I don't trust us at home. I just don't trust us at home to get a result at the minute.
I'm going to be positive and I'm going to say 9 points, possibly.
The thing is,
11.
The games will
which
be
means we don't lose in 5 games, which is really, really bold, actually.
That is very bold. This is the difference between
10.
Danny being able to knock on Chansiri's door at January and going, I want this player, get me him, instead of going, well, I want this player, but I'll go with this player instead because of where we are in the league.
Yeah.
That's my thing. Is Danny can put a real big push, especially if we are pushing. Say, and I don't want us to push out. No, I would like us to push the playoffs. I just don't see us doing it. That's what I mean. I'm not going to say I don't want us to push for it because if you're in a shot with playoff, you take it. But Danny needs to have the right backing.
And if he hasn't, it'd be unreal how bad we'd be.
We will get hammered in the Prem like Ipswich are doing it a couple of times. But you've got the parachute payments. You set yourself up.
Exactly. I know exactly. Obviously, you'd take I'd take a promotion. Don't get me wrong. I'd be weeping like a small child.
Like you were like, I don't want to get promoted,
mate. I would be bawling. I'd be the person that was memed. I'd be on the Sky cameras at the day, and I'd literally be a meme for the rest of my life because they'd have zoomed in on me with the red eyes and tears, and I'd be crying my eyes out if Wednesday got promoted. I think a lot of us would be. Even though I knew we were going to get back, even though I knew we were in for a season of absolute battering, I'd be weeping.
No, you wouldn't. It would be all 3 of us there, and you'd be pulling Jack back by his shirt, going, "Get away! You're not getting on the pitch."
No, I'd be on the pitch. I'd be banned from the ground. That's the problem I've got. I'm always nervous. I used to go on the pitch, allegedly, but like it's a case of like. Now we're obviously like we put our faces out there. I'm like, I don't want the club to have any reason to give me a banning order ever.
Yeah, I get that.
But yeah, let's talk about the next game, Jake, because we have wrapped up and we're gonna go into Blackburn.
They're currently winning 1-0.
who are
versus
currently
Hull.
winning 1-0. They are 8th in the championship currently.
Currently 6th.
9th. You what, sorry? Currently 6th on the live table.
Yeah.
If we exclude the current game they're playing, they've got 19 points at home and 9 points away. So, as Blackburn make their way,
you got to keep an eye out for Todd Canwell. He turned into another really good player again. He's enjoying his football and having a lot of fun with it. And Blackburn had changed it completely around from where they were last season.
And we're at home again.
And we're at home again, exactly.
Their away record isn't great compared to their home record, but it's still not terrible.
The thing is, he's got to try and find a way of getting the home record sorted. And by what I've just seen, Danny Rule is absolutely apoplectic with that performance. And he's not happy at all with how he's spoken to the media afterwards and saying we deserve nothing out of that game. And
he's not wrong.
You know what? I like that. There's going to be some people who don't like it, but I like that. I like a manager that's on it and goes, we deserve nothing. How we get something, I don't know. And they feel like they could go into being our Huddersfield, Middlesbrough telling off again, like we did last season, where he wakes them up and goes, you need to start performing. Because we might be mid-table right now, but I don't want that. I want higher. And this is the thing. You could probably see him turning around and saying, somebody can pull your ideas up. Because we're talking about loans. What happens if Danny says, I don't want you, or you in my squad, and sells them and says, give me the profits of that and I buy some players in that I want? Because I think Danny getting really frustrated with this lackluster performance he keep getting from some players.
Danny needs to see it. He said it's a long-term project. He needs to realise it is. He needs to work with Chancery if Chancery is still going to be our ownership and we're not going to get additional investment or different investment. They need to work together. Chancery needs to support him and back him to the hilt. He needs to be very clear on what is there, but he also don't start Chancery or Chancery's offspring that are listening to this, maybe. Please make sure that he doesn't start having a pot that he spent this in summer, because it's not like he's given him the budget that he gave Carlos, right? Bloody hell, if he'd have given the budget that he gave Carlos, can you imagine where we'd be?
Oh, can you imagine what we would have got?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, January's going to tell a lot.
I genuinely think with Danny, he's willing to give him the chances and give him a bit of more leeway. And the one thing we have noticed from Chancery, he does back managers and he will give them chances.
Yes, but Danny Rule was not his first choice, because he could have gone in for him when he went in for Zisco. He got that wrong, and Danny Rule is still here and he's performed miracles and he signed a contract. So he needs to back him to the hilt. And we've dropped to 10th, by the way, on the live scores currently.
Oh no, however will I recover from that?
Game we've got before we see each other next time as well is Oxford, and that's away. Now, what are you feeling about going into that one?
Away form, we're really good. Their home form is actually quite good as well, though. All depends on how this week goes. If we have a good game,
by the way, they are. It's actually, you'd probably want to play Oxford at Hillsborough, even though we've not been great at home, because they've only got 2 points away, whereas at home, all of their points, 16 points, are at home. So
I think you've got to play to that effect that they've only got 3 sides of it, and you've got to try and do the best we can. We know what it's like to play at Oxford. We've played there. It can be a pain in the backside.
I hated playing Oxford. I hated it in League One. If they're anything like they used to be, it's going to be physical. It's going to be annoying. But we need to go to theirs and ruin their day. They've lost twice at home. Let's make it 3.
Yep. Agree.
But yes, Jake, that's all I've got for this week's Talking Wednesday podcast. I'm going to go through this and edit the twice when you swore. So thanks for that. But have you got anything to add before we
just keep yourself safe. Just keep yourself safe, because that weather outside is horrible, and just this is your last one you're seeing from me until the 21st, because I'm not on next week because it's my little one's birthday. So you've got Jack and James next week.
Did I know that?
What?
Did I know that? That's fine, absolutely fine. But I was like, did I know that? Because now I've got to put with Jack. I'm joking, Jack.
But yeah, I think it's going to be a case of let's see where we are come January, and then we can start trying to see where we are. If Danny can get on performing how we know he can, and then listening, we should be in a good position. But again, look where we are. Look at how many points we've got. We are getting closer and closer to a 50-point tally, which is what we were striding for last season. If we can get there quicker, brilliant. But we've got to make sure we make games count.
Absolutely. Take care of yourselves, guys, especially in this storm. I'm hoping it subsides. I've got a lot of work to do next week. But take care, and we will see you in the next episode of Talking Wednesday.
See ya.